All right, we're here.
That's right.
There's no Baxter, so you don't know what's gonna happen.
I kind of absorbed him like a twin.
I'm gonna tell. Okay.
Am I doing good?
Did you know that my mom thought I was twins until they went to the hospital?
It was the beard.
Like
They
got two of everything, and then they were like, "No, there never were twins," and it was like a mystery. There's like I don't think there. It was back in ancient days before they like showed you your baby in 4D before it was born, but it's always, and apparently I maybe absorbed my twin. I don't know.
That's brilliant.
That's a lot of information to throw out on the
Makes
internet.
sense. That's why you're so great. You're twice the energy.
Yeah. Extra. Double. I thought this was going to be better without Baxter, but no.
It's exactly the same.
We're just as off topic. All right. Before we go any farther, hit like, hit subscribe. This is not usually my part.
Hit the bell, baby.
God, it's like everything's changed.
Everything's backwards.
I'm excited about this video.
I kind of am too, because this is something I didn't even know was a thing.
Existed. I knew it existed. We're going to tell you what it is in just a moment.
Or will we?
But there's a pretty cool guitar product that actually one of my friends is one of the new owners of the company.
Very cool.
They've made some changes. It's this little beauty right here. It's the brown box. And I remember seeing these forever ago and people using them at the time I thought vintage tube amps. Mm-hmm. And I think I saw like Joe Walsh, but lots of people, there were a ton of guys using them in Nashville because they were using like old Fender tube amps. But I think that a lot of people don't know. They maybe are aware of this thing.
Yeah. I mean, what's it do?
Well, I was going to say, most people,
like
I don't know that they know what it did. Because Derek was like, it makes your amp quieter. It's like an attenuator. I was like, no, it's not. But anyways, my buddy Clark, who's, like I said, one of the owners of the company now, was kind enough to send us this one to try out. And I have been playing around with it at home, I don't know, for the last few weeks. It's pretty neat. So what it does is I'm probably going to use the wrong technical words, so bear with me. But basically, you can figure out what the voltage is coming out of your wall, wherever you are, home, club, venue, whatever, and then put it where you want it. So, like, I've read a bunch of reviews online for people using this thing too, like a Sweetwater. Everything is supposed to be 120 coming out of your wall.
Yep,
pounding your amp, but that's not well. It's hardly ever true. Yeah. So apparently, a lot of places it's over that.
Oh, okay.
And then a lot of places it does this. Like it
changes.
Changes, okay. Right? And like my house sucks because like in my backstreet because of my little she shed in my building, it's newer, right? So it's newer wiring. My amps are fine out there, but in my house, I don't know exactly why, but it just sucks. Everything is the 2-prong plug, so I have to use that stupid little gray adapter thing. But I don't even bring my amps in the house because normally they sound like not good stuff that's the same color as this box. A browner sound.
Brown.
But
is this that brown sound they're always talking about?
But anyway, so what this thing does lets you figure. I mean, you can see when you plug it in this little spot and this cool little thing. It tells you how many amps you're running, and you can see what the voltage is coming out of the wall, which apparently a lot of times people see things like 122, 123 is what is running.
And if I'm not mistaken, at least I know this with vintage amps, there's a number on the back of it, and it's not always 120. It says something else, right? So
you can actually adjust this to that.
Okay.
You can make it lower. So what I think is cool is it used to be on these things, you had all these little percentages. And you would try to find the formula, but it would tell you what the end number was up here. Yeah. And I was talking to Clark, and he's like, we kind of did away with that, which that was a thing that probably maybe intimidated me from buying one of the original ones, because I'm like, God, I don't know if I don't want to like blow my amp up, do the wrong percentage. Yeah. Turns out it doesn't really matter. It's just finding sort of like the magic number where you think your amp feels the best. Okay. You know what I mean? So I've been running my new amps at like 117-ish. Okay. But then actually a little lower is probably better on my like old Magnetone. That's the one that Mike Campbell owned, is a 63, and it actually, when I go down lower, it's better. But you might say, like, why does this matter? Is my amp going to sound magically better?
Yeah.
No. I don't mean that like...
Case closed. See you next week.
You know, after I used this thing the first time, I messaged Clark, and I was like, man, like, I feel like it's better, but I can't really describe why. And he was saying that a lot of people say that.
Okay.
Because it's not as big a thing with the tone as the feel.
Okay, it's like a subtle change altogether.
Well, it almost feels like the compression's different. You know how we talk about, like, when there's the age-old argument of modular now versus, like, real tube amps.
Yes.
And the tube amp guys always say tube amps, they feel better. They react better, right? But modular guys always say, oh, I get the same thing every single night.
Yes.
You don't with tube amps, because I know when I, especially when I was playing different places a lot, like different states, different clubs, like a ton every week, I would notice night to night, man, same settings, same everything, amp feels totally different. Some of that is
I've
power.
noticed a little bit of that. Yeah,
right?
That's kind of,
But so I think that not only, so now, modular, you supposedly you get the same thing every night. This lets you get the same thing every night with your tube amp.
Oh, that's cool.
Do you know what I'm saying? So like when you find that feel and you find the right number, whatever your magic number is, once you realize that, figure it out, you dial that up wherever you are, whether it's at your house, whether it's at a venue, a club with horrible power, whatever, and your amp's going to feel and respond the same because you're just sort of like feeding it the same power. Now, maybe you don't ever play your amp anywhere but at home. You might be saying, well, that's dumb. I don't need that. The other really good thing, right, as far as not giving your amp too much power or maybe scaling it down a bit or finding the sweet spot is apparently, from what I've read, it is much better on your tubes and just wear and tear on your general, especially if it's a vintage amp, but on new amps too. I can notice that difference in feel. In my amps.
I can't tell you how many customers we've had come into the shop, and the first thing that they usually say about their house or whatever it is, oh, it's weird, I plug in my amp and it's really noisy in my house. It's always been that way in X, Y, and Z rooms, right? Like they're always trying to find somewhere where their amp is quieter or sounds, better, just like you were saying, older homes and stuff like that, they have that issue. So it sounds like that would be like an ultimate solution to not only that, but to getting your amp to kind of
I think
give you a little something sweeter.
I don't want it to sound like this is like the cure-all magic thing for everything, but I think there are some like good things that happen that are maybe side effects of what it does as opposed to the intended use. Like my amps are quieter in my house with the 2-prong plugs when I plug this thing in and then plug them in there and bring the voltage down, right? Plus the voltage was like stupid high in my house. It was over 120 out of the wall. So, it's just a neat thing. It might be worth trying. Now, we don't sell these. So I don't want you to think. And like I said, Clark is a good friend of mine, and he is an amazing bass player, probably one of the best just all around musicians that I know. So Clark Singleton, you should check him out. He has a really cool Instagram, YouTube. They do all sorts of fun things. They like flip houses. They run this place.
His Instagram's actually popped up on my feed before,
really cool.
Randomly, and I followed him from there because it was dope. I found out too that he played with the Fray at one point, and that
he did play with the Fray. He played with Jared James Nichols for a bit. Clark's played with he's just awesome. Fellow North Carolinian, so can't say enough good things about Clark. But like I said, he sent us this, and we just wanted to try it out. And I wanted to make a video just so you guys know that this is out there. But you can get it at Sweetwater. I think you can probably get it direct from them. It's pretty cool. They're doing all like the power coding and stuff in Nashville now. So some of the stuff that was being made overseas is now being made locally.
It's almost like a USA made product, completely almost, right?
I don't know that 1,000%, so I'm not going to say that 1,000%. But
it's true. It's true. Don't listen.
I know that what they can do, they're sourcing locally, right? And I know that Clark's a stand-up dude, so he's going to stand behind all this stuff.
Yeah. Well, just based on your reaction to it, because we were talking earlier on it, and it seems like you're, if you're thoroughly impressed by it, because I know you, for the most part, of the stuff like this, and you think it's not real, you're like, whatever. No,
because some things aren't real. And I also, this is not one of those things where it's like you plug it in and a hole opens into heavens and light shines down. It's not that dramatic.
It does something subtle, right? That's what I mean, probably the biggest thing is the lack of wear and tear
on your, especially if you got vintage stuff or you got NOS tubes. That's amazing. But knowing that you give your amp the same thing and have that same feel, because nothing sucks more, especially if you're gigging. Nothing sucks more than going to a gig at a venue you're excited about and you just cannot get your tone right, and then that gets in your head, and then you play like crap because you know what I mean. Like your amp didn't respond. Maybe that sounds dumb, and maybe you're like, oh, if you were a good player, that wouldn't bother you, and that's true. But
it's also
I know that about you. It is totally a real thing.
I can't tell you how many guitar players we probably both talked to who that is a real thing. You take this great amp, like we both have Magnetones, right? Go out, play somewhere.
Super Bowl and
some night, yeah. One night, we're sitting there playing, and it's like, wow, this is the greatest sound ever. And then it's like, I play somewhere else, and I'm like, that's kind of weird. It didn't do that last night, It's just the nature of the beast. And if that helps with that would be some music.
Well, again, I think what this helps with is not necessarily. I mean, you still have to change your EQ and stuff.
It's not a cure-all,
but it's the way that when you hit a note, sometimes it feels like they just kind of like. And then sometimes you hit them, it's like you can lean against it, and the compression is perfect.
Yes.
I think you find the number, the sweet spot, the magic number,
and you're rocking
on this crazy thing, and then at least that part of it's there, and then you got somewhere to start from.
Yeah.
Right.
That's super cool. I can dig it. Makes me want to try a brown box.
Also, I think Clark was saying, like, a lot of times customers will call him, and there's a fuse in here.
Yeah.
And they have blown a fuse in here instead of in their amp to know, like, oh, they need tubes or something needs to be serviced. But instead of blowing a tube and maybe having other problems with your amp, this sort of catches it first.
That's kind of dope.
So that's kind of cool.
That's actually really cool. I like that a lot because I've blown tubes before in an amp, and
sometimes it causes good. Like if you go to the point where you blow a tube, sometimes it's those what they call like screen grid resistors or whatever.
Yeah.
Some nerdy thing.
Way.
But anyways,
over the top. Yeah.
So this is basically a PSA to go try yourself a brown box. Find your magic number there, and yeah, actually I should let you borrow this thing and take it and play it with your.
I wouldn't mind trying it. Yeah.
Your varsity,
We'll try some fun stuff. We'll do it. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
But that's that. Not the most technical thing. I almost decided we should play some amps, but again, it's subtle, so I'm not even sure the difference comes through if we're just playing amps, and that's not really what we do. We kind of sit on stools and we just kind of BS about things. That's sort of our thing.
No.
but yeah,
we may do something. I don't know. We could do a little test thing maybe at some point. Who knows?
Maybe we'll do some clips and put them on the memory only.
Yeah, thing. I was thinking about that. We can go to the house and I'll set up cameras. We'll shoot a little shot of you.
Well, that'd be a good
kind of boom.
Good excuse to play the Mike Campbell Magnetone on there anyway. So, and I will say it is improved fairly drastically from this thing, I think.
It's good.
And I kind of worried about it being fragile. I feel like it's fragile. It got in my brain, but I feel like this protects it. Anyways, let us know. Maybe you've tried this thing in the past. Maybe you have not.
You think it's...
Oh, you know what? By the way, I said before. Well, I guess I did say the numbers were gone. Yeah, so now you literally just kind of fiddle
and you listen,
and you listen, and then you only have to focus on the screen. But anyways, let us know if you tried the old one, if you tried a new one. Do you have wonderful success stories, or maybe you think this is sniggle? Let us know in the comments, even if you're wrong.
Absolutely,
put your own opinions in the comments. But anyways, thanks for hanging out with us. We shall see you next time.